Welcome back, people. This is the Vinyl Casket, home to the lamest taste. You can check me out on Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube, all at one word, the Vinyl Casket, where you can subscribe, like, and comment, hit the bell for much, much more. It's been a long time since I've done a video in this series, and it isn't my traditional full-size video for this series. This is rewind reviews, but this is going to be a mini episode because it's going to be focusing on just one video, one movie. But it is in the theory of rewind as a rewatch or, you know, a flashback review. Maybe I'll do those eventually, but right now I'm just going to call it a mini episode for rewind. And this is a 2008 movie, Jumper. Jumper is an incredibly overlooked and I feel like underappreciated movie, starring none other than Mr. Hayden Christensen. This is a movie that didn't do well in the box office, and rewatching it, you can kind of see why. Being that the plot goes from being really good and having a really good idea to just kind of having very in your face and blatantly right there plot holes that never really get answered and only get more confusing as everything goes on. But I do really enjoy it, and I think Hayden Christensen did a really good performance, and I feel like this is the movie that could have taken him from just being the person that people hated because of the prequel trilogy of Star Wars, episodes 2 and 3, where he played Anakin Skywalker and became Darth Vader, where I feel like people just gave him hate on how he portrayed the character and this and that, and this could have been that movie that really, because it's an action, sci-fi, weird movie. It could have projected him further into other things, or he could have even been, I could have seen Hayden Christensen playing the main human in Transformers, stuff like that. But this movie kind of fumbled. Not really because of his performance, basically just because of choices that were made and how this movie was edited and pieced together. It just feels funky, but it's a good watch. It's a good movie. It's not bad. It's just, you could see in the time period of when it came out why it didn't connect with audiences and why it's like a rewatch movie. It's a movie that you sit down, 15 years later, and you watch, you're like, oh, that was good, but why did this happen? Why did that happen? It's a movie that needed a sequel but never got it, and now it's way too late to ever make it unless you redo it or it's written to make it that way. But this is a rewind review. You can check out the playlist. They're normally overviews of series, trilogies, larger concepts. This is a mini with just one movie, but I feel like nowadays this movie is pretty passable. There's so much saturation in the market with streaming that this is a very streamable movie. This is a fun dinner date, put on real quick. It's only what's the rundown in here? An hour and a half. It's not bad. The acting's pretty good. Everyone in this movie is pretty solid. And just the way it was written, the writers really kind of screwed the pooch with too many open ends and stuff like that. But an editing, it was just, the editing effects, special effects here are pretty solid for 2008. The character development is pretty solid, except for things that should be major keystones for characters are loopholes and loose ends that aren't ever fully connected to the importance that they establish. Again, I feel like the reason this movie flops so much is just continuity in itself, but as a singular entity, it's a pretty solid movie. Rating wise, I'm going to give it, out of 5, I'm going to give it a 4. I know you're going to say that's really high. It's fun. I love Jumper. I've loved Jumper for a really long time, since the first time I saw it, probably in 2009. And I'll always like Jumper and think Jumper is a good movie. Do I understand why it flopped? Yes. Do I understand why there was never a sequel? Yes. Do I think there should have been a sequel and it could have saved this movie? Yes. I think a sequel would have made people think like, okay, like whatever. If they put this movie out and had announced that there was a sequel at the end of it, like to be continued, like we're doing a sequel, I think people wouldn't have burnt this movie down. They would be like, okay, we'll give it another shot because there's something else coming. But that's all I have to really say. Usually I go dive a little bit more deeper over like the overarching plots and themes of series, but in this concept, it's basically just a casket review of an old movie and me complaining about why I think it flopped. I like this. 4 out of 5, solid movie. Give it a chance. You're gonna have the same complaints probably, so you can get in the comments and talk about it. But this is the Vinyl Casket. This is Jumper. Hayden Christensen. I can't even speak. Hayden Christensen. Oh, you know what? Samuel Jackson's in this too. So it's shocking that people think this is the flop because I don't think people ever complain about him. But yeah, this is Jumper. It's a solid 2008 movie. I think it's pretty solid. 4 out of 5. You can check it out. Check me out on Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. All at The Vinyl Casket. One word. We can subscribe, like, and comment. Hit the bell for much more. And do me a massive favor and stay lame.